Nathan Khan here for Seconds Out with Eddie Hearn. Eddie, I'm looking for signs, maybe a little bit of swaggering, any stitches in the head. There's a bit of blood loss, like a Tarantino film over in Mexico.
Where is it? See that?
I do see them.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was funny. You know when you hit your head on something, you go, I wonder if that's bleeding, and you go like that, and there's never anything there. Well, this time went like that, and it was everywhere. But yeah, it was a bit embarrassing. It comes with being a 6'5" oaf, but Sugar Nunez done the trick in a fantastic performance, so we're all good.
Can we expect that type of action on the Gill versus Barrett card and undercard too?
Yeah, I think the Gill Barrett fight and the card is a fantastic card. I think it's a great night of boxing in Manchester. I love Zelfa Barrett against Jordan Gill because it's the kind of fights we should be making. You know, we've got two guys at 130 pounds. Both of them want to fight for the World Championship. Both ranked in the top 10 of the world. Both British. Stick them in. You know, Zelfa's got a chance to headline at the AO Arena. Jordan Gill's coming off a brilliant win against Michael Conlon. It's a great fight. And roll in Ellie Scottney in a big unification fight. Rhiannon Dixon fighting for the world title against a very, very tough Karen Carabajal. Particularly Jordan Flynn against Cameron Vong. Michael Gomez Jr. against Kane Baker. Brandon Scott, William Crawler and much more. Top to bottom, fantastic night of boxing. April 13th.
Moving on to Taylor Catterall too, got a bit spicy there. The board had a call?
No, actually. To be honest, when I watched it back, it wasn't, I'll say it's bad, what I thought, because I thought Josh actually had a little swing. Jack shouldn't have grabbed him around the throat. Look, it's 2 years of hatred. Like, what do you expect? So today we just got to try and, I just had a meeting with the security there. It's like, you want to get the moment. And I'm going to have to talk to both guys and just say, guys, just give us 20 seconds. Say what you want to each other, but don't chin each other. But that's, the fight's called Hate Runs Deep, and that's the reality of the situation. They can't stand each other, and that's what sells. We've seen ticket sign-ups, registration for tickets go through the roof in the last couple of days. The social numbers, we need it. We really need it. We need this build-up. We need this kind of rivalry. We've seen it, I said yesterday, it's like Quigg-Frampton. It feels like that all again. Hay Bellew, Froch Groves. You do a press and you go, this is big. And April 27 in Leeds, it's a massive show.
I'm not usually one to stir the pot between promoters, and that's not my intention here, but I do feel that, this is Matchroom's gain and Boxer's loss here.
Look, Boxer was supposed to do the fight, and, basically what happened was, in this fight, was I actually had a joke with Coogan earlier. I'm trying not to do pay-per-views. I need the ability to do them, and that's why it was great when DAZN introduced that package, and now DAZN are on Sky and all that kind of stuff. But the whole point is to make the big fights non-pay-per-view. This is a great example, as was Joshua against Hellenius, Joshua against Jermaine Franklin. He's boxed on pay-per-view every fight for 9 years. We need to provide that value for subscribers. The problem is the purses are very high, not just in this fight, but in general in the sport. So the amount of money that Taylor and Catterall wanted really only worked in a pay-per-view model. But because you've got Joshua Ngannou on DAZN, you've got Fury Usyk on DAZN, you've got Danny Garcia on DAZN, you've got all these mega fights, I felt, and DAZN felt, that it would be brilliant to make a night like this where you didn't have to pay extra money for pay-per-view. But it was a lot of money. So I said to Sam Jones, Sam, go and talk to the other broadcasters and see what's out there for this fight. Boxer came straight on and said, we'd love to put this fight on pay-per-view. Let's get it made, blah, blah, blah. And then I went back to DAZN. I said, guys, you've got a choice here. You can either let Sky do it on pay-per-view, and there was other broadcasters that wanted to do it on pay-per-view as well, or you can pay up and make sure it's available to subscribers non-pay-per-view. And they did it. And I was over the moon. Because I don't really want to get into a debate about what's pay-per-view, what's not pay-per-view. And these are the kind of fights that when you look at the DAZN schedule, it's a standout, says, yes, I'm getting massive value for money on DAZN. And that's important to us. So, yes, it is our game. And you don't realise how big it is till you do the presser from yesterday. You start to see the tickets and you start to see the numbers. And although we're doing a lot of good shows in the UK, I do feel like we're missing these kind of big nights. So, yeah, looking forward to April 27th.
I did see the soundbite from Boxing King Media's interview with Josh Taylor. He said that Eddie didn't feel it was a big fight, but then suddenly the budget is there available for it being a big fight now. What changed? Was there the feeling that it wasn't?
I never said it's not a big fight. I said I don't think it's a pay-per-view fight because, I'm talking about on DAZN. Sky well, they offered to put it on pay-per-view. I think it is a pay-per-view fight on Sky, but that's not our model. We can't just keep putting pay-per-view after pay-per-view on the zone. We've got to make it attractive and deliver value for money. And by making nights like Taylor Catterall, like Taylor Cameron, like Wood Warrington, like all of these fights that are like, you know, kind of borderline fights on pay-per-view, we've got to make them available to subscribers. So I've always felt it's a massive fight. But I couldn't, with all the other big nights on the zone, I couldn't position, and I don't think the zone wanted to position this as a pay-per-view fight. And here we are, non-pay-per-view. I think it's great.
I was discussing with my colleague Danny Flexen yesterday on our live stream, hopefully get you on one day, Eddie, about the clause in the contract between Fury and Usyk that Hrgovic will come into play should Fury drop out. The other side of the equation was that if Usyk drops out, Joshua would come into the equation there. That seems a little bit fanciful, considering I doubt AJ will want to be a step-in opponent for a fight that would need promotion. So how realistic is it really that AJ would step into that fight should Usyk drop out?
I think AJ's ready. You know, that's the thing we know about AJ. This is his 4th fight in 11 months. He's really enjoyed the activity. The problem with jumping in to replace Usyk is you're just fighting for the WBC world title, which is fine. But really, the aim of fighting Ngannou is to fight the winner of Fury Usyk for the undisputed. So there's so many things that can happen. I mean, really, from our mind, if both fights happen fine, which we expect them to do, AJ against Ngannou, Fury against Usyk, one is the winners fight the winners. And I think His Excellency, the demand, if the two winners are AJ against Fury, to fight each other will be through the roof. The other one is that AJ fights Hrgovic for the IBF title and then fights the winner for undisputed. Literally anything can happen. But our aim, and you know, we want to fight for undisputed. And we've been told that if we beat Ngannou, you heard it at the press conference, we will fight for the undisputed. If we have to have one in the middle, no problem. But I think it's going to be very hard for His Excellency to ignore not just the public demand, but his own demand of wanting to see AJ against Tyson Fury, should they both win on March the 8th and March the 18th and May the 18th.
What of the announcement that AJ Ngannou will land on DAZN and also Sky Sports Boxing pay-per-view? It feels like there would have to be a deal done in the background, considering AJ is exclusive to DAZN. So what happened in the background for that to happen? So
DAZN are the host broadcaster, which means they control the production, they control the broadcast, they control the rights. And there was a conversation with His Excellency and Sky Sports to add, as we saw in the previous Day of Reckoning card, an additional outlet. That was chose to be Sky Sports on this occasion, which is a fantastic pay-per-view platform, a great partner for the event as well. And I think it's very positive. Obviously, we want the fight to be seen as far and wide as possible. You've seen DAZN do that deal often in America as well with ESPN. And, you know, I think it's really about His Excellency's vision to make the fights available to as many people as possible. So last time the partner was TNT, this time the partner is Sky. And I think it's great for the event.
Are the buys independent or are they shared between the two platforms?
It's all part of the deal. As I said, DAZN is the host broadcaster, and DAZN, AJ is exclusive to DAZN. So a deal had to be reached that was in the best interest of everybody.
Moving forward, I believe, as I was listening to the TalkSport interview, and I spoke to Frank Smith consequently as well, that the appeal has taken place now regarding Conor Benn's case. Have you spoke to Ben after the appeal? What's his feeling from it?
He has limited involvement in that. Obviously, it's taken care of by his lawyers, and he was across it as well. But just for, you know, confident. You never know in these things. But he's won 2 already. He's advised that he wins the appeal, but you never know. So a couple of weeks, and that's really the only frustrating thing left, because we've got all these fights lined up for him. But until we know where they can take place, we can't really strike on those fights. There's been a couple of movements in the last 48 hours with fighters and new fighters coming in who want to fight him, but particularly fighters we've been discussing that are moving really rapidly. But, you know, he's either going to fight in London at the O2 or he's going to fight in Vegas or New York or wherever. And obviously the status of the appeal will recognise that.
When do you expect the decision to come through?
I believe it's a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Confident?
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, you know, we were told we'd win the first case. We won it. We were told we'll win the appeal, but who knows?
With that said, Danny Garcia has put his name into the hat for the fight with Conor Benn, and it seems like Gervonta Davis is no longer on the table. What is the situation? You said that there's been new fighters added to the equation. Who are those as well?
Danny Garcia is one of them. Reached out, wants a conversation with me about the fight. I love the fight. I think it's a really dangerous fight. I think Danny Garcia's one of the biggest names around that weight class. He wants to do the fight at 154. It's a fight that fills up the O2. It's a fight that can fill up an arena in America as well. So he's definitely a viable option. There's other fights that, again, have become more appealing over the last couple of days. There's a couple of huge name fights that we've been offered or spoken about to internationally as well, with site fees. So Conor's in a fantastic position. It's just a bit frustrating for him that really we just need to know, the result of this appeal before we make a decision of where the fight will be. But expect to see him back in action in April, May at the latest.
Well, the names Avanesyan or Josh Kelly in the pot?
No. I mean, they're two great fighters, but every name on the list is a much, much, much higher profile fight than those two names.
Is the name Broner still included in the list?
No, I don't mind the Broner fight, but again, these guys, they're serious fights. And so is Broner, but Broner's more of a name, and these are serious fights.
Moving on finally to, I saw the gloves are off type of thing between AJ and Ngannou. Got me hyped for the fight there. AJ was a bit coy in saying that he wanted to knock out Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou was a bit more direct. You're someone who went to the gym, Ben Davison's gym, to see Joshua in his preparations for that fight. Confident heading into that one as well?
Confident, but nervous. Ngannou's a massive guy, isn't he? And I think Frank Warren summed it up, the jeopardy in the fight. You're expected to win the fight. The guy's 0-1. So, but he's a lump. He's very, very confident. He has a good mindset and he can punch very hard. And there are a lot of the things you need as attributes in heavyweight division. So I expect AJ to do a job on him, but I do expect it to be dangerous. And it's just going to be one of them when it's all over and say, on we go.
How many pay-per-view buys does it do?
You do 1 million. Yeah, so it's a big fight. I mean, AJ's the kind of, it's a mad world we live in where you're only as good as your last fight, where all of a sudden everyone believes, or a lot of people believe, AJ could be the best heavyweight in the world, could beat Fury, could do this. So there's a lot more momentum behind him now. Plus, of course, the Ngannou-Fury fight. One of the problems with the Ngannou-Fury fight was no one really believed he had a chance. I didn't. Now people are looking at him in that fight, dropping him and arguably beating him or nearly beating him and saying, he might win this. So you've got the MMA world, you've got the boxing world, you've got the casual world, and now you've got a lot of believers in Francis Ngannou. So, I think it's going to be a huge night.
Conversation. Appreciate it.